one thing that's been very clear to me has been just how firm the British government is about that. To be fair, Theresa May was absolutely solid in supporting Gibraltar throughout her time as Prime Minister. I know that Boris has been exactly the same position. I've spoken to him directly about it. I was very struck at our meeting of the APPG, the record number of people that turned up. We had more than in previous years, including a number of new members. So there are lots of new people who want to support Gibraltar.
The DUP felt very let down by the withdrawal agreement, but Boris Johnson was determined to get his deal over the line. Could Gibraltar find itself in a position where it becomes collateral damage so that a future trade agreement can be agreed by the end of the implementation period?
I don't believe so, and I'm not sure that the analogy is an exact one. To be blunt, my friends in the DUP didn't in the end play a strong hand as well as they might have done, I suggest. I think they probably overreached themselves, and I think they made a great mistake personally in not voting for Theresa May's agreement. They would have been out on, I think, workable terms then. I think Gibraltar, both the government and the opposition in Gibraltar, played a much more careful hand. So I suggest actually Gibraltar has played its cards very well so far. They maintained a very constructive but fairly quiet dialogue with the UK government, and that's the way to do it. But you've got a situation where the British government's got a clear mandate, Gibraltar government's got a clear mandate. They've always had very good working relationships, regardless of which party has been in power in Gibraltar, with the Conservatives and the coalition. I've absolutely no reason, I've seen personal evidence that continues totally. So I don't believe that that's the case. And we did take back control. Part of the Brexit thing, if you like, was taking back control to British borders, British sovereignty. We didn't do that to give away part of the British family, I promise you that. I don't get any sense of that whatever.
Do you think that the British government, Boris Johnson, with his big majority, will now change the negotiating dynamic between the EU and the UK?
I think that's almost inevitable. I think probably to our benefit. Both the UK's and Gibraltar's. We need to have the future relationship signed off by the end of the year. No reason to think that won't work. Sometimes you do have to play a bit of hardball, and I think that's then where the major economic players in the EU are not going to allow Spain, for example, to play around with its political posturing in a way which might damage their own significant economic and also political interests, because they want to have good relations with us. And then ultimately, I would hope that Spain does too. I hope that the new Spanish government will be more realistic than its predecessor. Sometimes, certainly, PSOE governments have adopted a more pragmatic approach, and I hope Mr. Sanchez will adopt that approach. If so, we're very happy to be constructive with them, but not at the expense of Gibraltar's position and the fundamental right of the Gibraltar people to self-determine their future, and now protecting Gibraltar's fundamental constitutional economic defence interests. That's not negotiable.